here's what we'll be covering. So we are in the welcome phase, and then Hans is going to have the how to implement OKRs workshop. It's not just going to be him talking. This is going to be interactive, and we would love nothing more than your input. We would love to have you guys join in with your questions and everything. It's going to be beautiful. This will be followed by a live demo of our OKRs module with the one and only Carlos Santana, followed by a Q&A. Now, the webinar does have a Q&A section. So if you just ask your questions there, if it's something simple that we can answer on the spot, we will answer it in the chat. But all of the questions, everything you ask, will be answered towards the end in the Q&A session. And our very own Casey will be with you in the chat to answer any and every questions you might have, or if you have any technical difficulties, you can definitely reach Casey at teamflect.com. And I think that covers us through the intro. With that said, everyone, I just want to introduce to you the king of key results, the pioneer of purpose, the overlord of objectives, the OKR oracle himself, the goal-setting man from München. I came up with all of these in hopes of breaking Hans, but he's standing rock solid so far. I will pass the mic along to the one and only Hannes Albrecht, the founder of HowToOKR Consultancy. So if anyone knows his things about OKRs, you know it's him. Hans, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Amazing! What an introduction. That's amazing. And I see hearts floating around in the Teams chat. It's incredible. Let me take over the screen. Here we are. So first of all, thanks for having me. Welcome to all the AI note takers and real people out there. We're gonna spend like 20 minutes about OKRs. I'm Hannes Albrecht from HowToOKR.com. We are in this space for, oh my God, 13, 14 years. So really pioneers in terms of OKR implementations. We've had the pleasure and privilege to work with amazing teams and companies out there, all around the globe actually, and especially interesting, all flavors of companies. So really startup type of things, really very traditional industries and companies, which make things just super interesting. We are a very small boutique, mainly concentrating on C-levels management, because we say if these guys don't live and breathe it and feel and get the purpose of OKRs, it's really tough to get things going out there. That's where we really concentrate on. That's our key focus. Super small team. Mainly then working with online trainings to facilitate that into teams, into people out there. And my expectation for this session today is that you guys really get a clear sense about what OKRs are, what they are not, and also to get a very actionable, practical view on how they are formulated and how you can actually start off with OKRs within your team, within your management circle, or I don't know, maybe with your wife or husband at home. You can give it a try there as well, right? Why not? Also, we have enough time to answer your individual questions. I know the group is big. People are probably hesitant to speak up. You can speak up. We're going to have this Q&A section in the end. Use the Q&A function within Teams. So whenever I talk, just start to type in your individual questions. We're going to have enough time to go through it. First of all, bit of context. where does it all come from? I won't spend a lot of time with it, but it's good to know. I'd say up to the late 90s, the management world out there was basically driven by MBOs, management by objectives, really top-down driven. And in the late 90s, basically the board or the management team within Intel, they recognized three things which felt a bit strange. First of all, whenever they talked about strategy, vision, these discussions or conversations were mainly done within the top level management team, right? That was strange. It felt strange. Secondly, also at that time, it was really hard to find good talents. And whenever they found the people joining them, they had a culture which was more like, we need to tell, or we tend to tell people what to do next, right? And that feels strange because you hire people because you think they are the best talents to do the job, but we have a culture to tell them what to do next. Feels odd. Secondly, also this culture of typical sandbagging. So we set goals for the quarter, but while we set it low because we want to overachieve it. And this sandbagging culture also feels very strange, very odd. And that was the starting point where these guys said, okay, let's rethink it. Let's modernize MBOs. And that was basically the starting point of OKRs, beginning of the 2000s, mainly at Google, which implemented this methodology from scratch, and they are still live and breathe it, right? Why it makes sense? Because only working based on a short-term thinking process, based on activity, so people do stuff without knowing the purpose why they do stuff. We want to change that into something more driven by results, driven by impact of the things we are doing. We want to use vision and strategy as our steady compass out there. With that also, we want to find a solution from that feeling that everything is important, which flies into our desk from left and right. We want to be in the driver's seat to differentiate what's more important, what's less important, and what we should not do. Yeah. Also, it definitely drives collaboration, and we want to get rid out of that apathy out there, which is sometimes there, where we've done it always like that. Yeah. Let's get out of it. And ideally, we are able to get out of it with a lot of bottom-up input, because we are hiring good people. So let's use their brain power. OKRs are definitely not a task list. It's not a tool to measure people's performance. Very important. We still need KPIs. We still need health metrics. Super important. And it's also not a tool to measure to manage your business as usual, right? So your daily operations, you're doing that already. We don't need a new methodology for that. Also, psychologically, it's not a list to be seen. It's not a list. It's not a list to show how busy or how important you are. Which is more, if that happens, it's more caused, the root cause is more from a cultural aspect in those companies. So, but then what should be in there, ideally, it's only about change. It's driving improvements. It's for things which is pushing us towards strategy, towards our vision. And it definitely should help us to focus on the right things. And we talk a lot about these expressions, objectives and key results. Maybe some of you don't even know what it is and how it looks like. First of all, there are the so-called objectives. The objective is like a catchy headline of sort of like your internal press release. You read it and you immediately get what it's all about. So that's basically what do we want, where do we would like to land. So it's not something measurable, it's something engaging. It describes a status in the future. These objectives are backed up by key results. They look like bullet points, metric, measurable, ambitious. All the key results are based on assumptions. You shouldn't have a lot of those. So there's, I'd like to call it a rule of 12. So in total, you should not have more than 12 key results. So you could have like 3 or 4 objectives covered by, let's say, 2, 3 or 4 key results each. And that is summing up to total 12 key results in your OKR set. So if it's more, be cautious, be careful, because it's going to be a long list. It's going to be covering a lot of things. So the less you have, the better it is. And then there are initiatives, there are actions, there are things people do in teams. These are the things you're going to do in order to get there. Yeah? You don't pre-plan that, because there are maybe 1,000 ways to get to a key results, but the key result is defining basically where you would like to land. Yeah? And also probably in your company, you're going to have multiple ways how to manage your initiatives. It might be a Kanban board, it might be Scrum, for example. It might be a simple task list or a shopping list. Yeah? And this is how it could look like. It's a random example of a company. Apparently, they do something with sound. The objective, let's say, for the quarter is we want to build brand awareness to facilitate end user understanding for a feature called Sound ID. And that's backed up by 2 key results. So end of the quarter, our bet is, so our assumption is that we want to grow monthly traffic to 30,000 monthly average. And the second one says 2,000 monthly average users reached for Android music apps feature. So that's our bet, our assumption. We don't list exactly how we get there, but this is where we would like to land end of the quarter. You also see there is an owner. So these people are driving it. They're like little project managers for this particular key result. And then there should be a kind of status. We are on track or we're behind. And there should be a kind of progress measurement while you go, in order to see whether you are moving into the right direction or not. It's not so much about the final scoring in the end. It's not about reaching 100% or overachieving this, because those key results are based on assumptions. We made a bet for the quarter. It's more like getting as close as possible, moving in this direction, doing the right things in order to get as close as possible. I would say that's about it, and that can already deliver a huge impact in the right direction. Yeah? Here's another example. It's an example of a support team. Yeah? It says eliminate our ticket backlogs. That's the objective. And then you see a key result, answer tickets within 5 days. Another one, improve documentation FAQ and train 5 agents. Have a thought for a second. How does it look like? Does it look okay-ish? Does it look not so good? And I'm going to show you another version of the same objective on the right side. And here you see a key result: improved time to solve for support tickets from 48 hours to 24 hours. And it's the second one, says maintaining a satisfaction index at 85%. What's the difference between left and right, and how do we get from left to right? Well, the left side is more, it's more a to-do list. So we are doing these things. But I would always ask these teams working on it, okay, why should you answer tickets within 5 days? What's the purpose of doing this? Why should you do this? What's the goal in the end? What impact would you like to reach by doing it? And remember the questions I just asked, because these questions are always the same in order to move yourself to a better formulated OKR in the end. Yeah? So the left side is basically a task list, and the right side is more based on results. And these are the questions I was asking. It's always the same questions you can ask for whatever OKR or key result it's going to be. Yeah? Ask about what's the purpose of doing it, what's the desired impact of doing it, and what means success. And these questions will bring you to better key results. Yeah? So remember, it's about results, it's not about initiatives. That's a lot of teams, a lot of people struggle with this part big time. Couple of more results, a couple of more examples. So if the initiative is, let's pick the second one, to launch an Instagram campaign, that's a to-do. Ask the team, ask the people, what should be the impact of doing it? What's the desired goal of launching an Instagram campaign? Maybe it's about increasing followers, maybe it's about increasing sales, maybe it's whatever, yeah? But choose a key result which is pinpointing towards a result. That makes a big, big, big difference, and the questions to get there are always the same. Now, key results can only consist of one of those 5 dimensions. Again, no matter whether you are working in a tech company or whether you're working in a home service for elderly people, it's always the same. A key result can only consist of something describing a timely aspect, or something describing a quantitative change from here to there, or describing something qualitative, or describing something in regards to revenue or cost, or, and that's something which is very easy for us, to write down a milestone, a scope of something. We have passed a security audit, is a binary key result. You can only answer it with yes or no. For us, it's very easy to write something like this down because it's in our nature. We love milestones. And I'd say it's not ideal. Let's take it like that. It's, if you have key results which describe a milestone, it's okay. Sometimes it's the best thing you can choose for now. But be aware that you can only answer this by yes and no. And that is just a problem during the quarter, because during the quarter, it's very difficult to find out whether you're moving in the right direction or not. If you ask a team, how are we doing in passing the security audit? And the team can only say, well, we are doing good. We've done this and that and this and that. Yeah, but it looks all okay-ish. Yeah? It's difficult for you to judge. But whenever you have a metric key result, it's very easy to track progress, and it's very easy to have a clear understanding of whether you're moving in the right direction or not. That's the big difference of binary key results and metric key results. Yeah? So if you set up OKRs and everything is just containing binary key results, I would say, have a thorough look. Maybe you can find some metrics. It's always better, right? Okay. How does it all come together? Again, defining a good, proper, clear, and easy to understand vision and mission is super important. Having strong values is super important. Also, defining basically your strategic themes or pillars for the next couple of years is super important, because you want to give people direction. Yeah, you want to describe which mountain you're going to climb in the next couple of years. You still should have a kind of health metrics, KPIs. You should have yearly strategic themes or baseline expectations or targets for the year. You can also describe that in the format of yearly OKRs. Yeah? Whether you describe that as yearly OKRs or you have an easy to understand one-pager of this is our definition of success for the year, I don't care, but you should have it. If you have it, then teams have actually a good direction and good side rails to define their contributions towards it. And that can really happen bottom up then. They can set quarterly OKRs. And if I'm somebody within the team and I'm working on stuff, ideally I can then I have a better understanding about, okay, what is it all about? It's contributing to our quarterly team OKRs. And that makes sense because it's contributing to our yearly OKRs and stuff like that. Yeah, people want to align by nature, but they need to know the direction. It's a big difference, but it totally makes sense and it absolutely works. You might think now, okay, well, in our team we are super stuffed by all different sorts of projects and stuff. How should we work on OKRs on top? How does it fit there? I'd explain it like that. Probably every team out there, also your team you're working in, your capacity first of all is limited. Yeah. And I would say the majority of your total capacity is blocked by business as usual. Things you have to do anyway. Yeah? People in HR or people in culture need to hire people. That's the purpose of your team. There are certainly other things as well, but that's why you are here for. This is your business as usual. Yeah? That's always blocking the majority of your total capacity. There's another area which is more about we should do it. It's strategically important, and these things here, the blues part, usually gets lost. Yeah, we should fix it, we should prepare for it, but we can't really take care of it. And this is the area where OKRs comes into place. It's about change, improvement, things which are strategy relevant. OKRs should not be about covering your business as usual. That just leads you to a long OKR list, which is not adding any value. It's also super hard to manage in the end. Now, I want to give you some very, very simple tips and tricks to start OKRs. Again, either in your team or within your management layer or at home. So first of all, pick the team, pick your layer or pick your wife or pick your husband. Then second point, agree on a time frame. So now it's end of February. You don't need to think in quarters. You can say, okay, let's pick the next 2 months or let's pick the next 4 months. But the things we are going to formulate are pinpointing towards the end of this period. And this is the goals we are setting. This is where we would like to land by then. Yeah? Third point, agree just on 1 or 2 problems or topics with high impact, ideally, you want to fix. Yeah? In our team, we want to fix 1, 2. These are the things which would drive us strategically in the right direction. And then for those 2 problems, for those 2 topics, formulate maximum 2 objectives with 2 key results each. That's still the easy part. Number 5 is probably the hardest part. Set yourself a bi-weekly routine during this execution phase and really sit down for like 5 or 10 minutes, but talk through where are you? Are you moving in the right direction? Do you have everything in place? Do you have the right strategy to move on further? Number 5 is super important. And I'm going to show you this one here, and that's a little guideline for the thinking process to kick this off in a very, very simple way. So like I said, agree on 2 problems you want to solve. I'm going to share that with you afterwards. That would be problem number 1. That would be problem number 2. And then you can go through these questions one by one. Think about what problem do you actually want to solve here? Who's our customer? Don't forget about it. Why should we do this? Yeah? Take some notes here. Then also, it's okay to list a few activities just to picture a little bit what it is all about. It's not about a full project list of what you're going to do in the next 3 or 4 months, but just to picture a little bit what's connected to it. Then it gets interesting. Imagine it's end of the quarter. What should be ideally different? Yeah? What impact should be created by then? Next point is about end of the quarter. Is it something we can measure maybe in a qualitative way, quantitative way? Basically, these are the possibilities for key results we've gone through just a couple of minutes before. And then you would be ready to formulate your first key results here. Maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe 3. Define an owner who is driving it, and then try to formulate a catchy, ambitious objective line, because then you have enough content together to organize your objectives and your key results. That's, I think, a super simple, very structured approach to kick things off. Try to avoid the most common pitfalls. Again, I said you need a good enough quality, a good enough strategy. Definitely, people need to understand the direction. Another most common pitfall, I would say, is really if it's called set and forget, meaning you do a workshop, you start off formulating OKRs, and then suddenly it's kind of like you put it in a drawer, in a mental drawer, and you forget about it for 2-3 months, and then you pull it out again and say, oh, wow, we forgot about it. That's why you need your routines. So set your routines. I would say bi-weekly is a good cadence. Another problem sometimes is conflicting or parallel goal systems out there. People won't be able to follow, so avoid that. And also keep it super simple. Don't over-engineer OKRs. Keep it very simple. Maybe just allow maximum 3 objectives or maximum 2 objectives, even better. And that's also a good way to avoid those common pitfalls. I'm ready for your questions. Sorry for talking so much. Do we have any questions in the Q&A file?
Oh, we have all the goodies, Hans. First of all, Hans, thank you so much for the amazing workshop. This has been so cool. And we have so many incredible questions from like everyone who's joined the
Amazing.
webinar overall. So I will just once again just quickly adjust the presentation so you guys can see what we have cooking. Now, we have plenty of incredible questions, and we have saved them all up. Everything you ask, we not only keep in the webinar Q&A section, but we actually add it to the slide deck. So we will be going all over each and every one of them because I think, uh, Hans, you have so many great questions on day-to-day stuff, OKRs versus KPIs. One of my personal favorites was what if business as usual covers everything and there's no room for OKRs? I've noted all of them down. So everyone, stick around till the end because Hans will be here for the Q&A and he will answer all of your questions. We will answer every single question you've asked. Before that, however, we are passing the floor to our very own Carlos Santana. And now Carlos will be showing you a practical demonstration of how Teamflect's OKR software can actually help you implement this OKR methodology very easily right inside Microsoft Teams. This is going to take about 10 minutes. And then we will be answering every single question you have. Hans will answer your questions about OKRs. Hans is in the chat as well. So Hans, if you feel like dropping in some quick responses in the Q&A, the floor is yours, of course. After Carlos's 10-minute demo, we will open the floor for the Q&A. We'll present all of your questions and we will go through all of them. And if you have questions about the software, and if you have questions for Carlos as well, feel free to pass them along. That being said, Carlos, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Emre. Let me share my screen here with you all. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Good to go? Perfect. Okay, so this is essentially what you guys are going to see when you access Teamflect for the first time. As you can see on the left-hand side here, Teamflect comes with a lot of different capabilities and modules that really support performance management programs within organizations. For the sake of our conversation today, we're going to primarily be focusing on the OKRs module. But of course, if there's any interest in learning more about the other modules that we have available, we can set up some time to have a conversation later down the road. For folks who are, there may be some folks in the meeting today that are, maybe thinking, Carlos, we may just want OKR modules and maybe one other or just that one, and we don't really want the distraction of the other modules. Teamflect is extremely flexible in the sense that if there are other modules that don't really provide value to your organization today, you can easily turn them off and then explore those later down the road in the admin center. All right, let's talk a little bit about the OKRs module here. So here you can see all of the objectives that I am currently working on in this demo account. You can see them listed out. You can see the progress percentages, the status, and then of course their end dates or due dates. When it comes to creating an objective from scratch, it's pretty straightforward. For this objective, we'll just use like a test objective for our naming here. You can make a description optional or mandatory, depending on your preference there. But these descriptions can go a long way in terms of outlining kind of the purpose of the objective or what you're looking to accomplish, what is the impact that objective would have on your organization. The choice is yours on whether or not you would like it to be optional or mandatory. And then, of course, we have some AI functionalities that can help you with crafting those descriptions if you're a little bit pressed for time or you don't really know how you want to describe any objective that you're creating. Now, when it comes to objective types, in our platform, we typically start off folks with 4 different types. So 2 of them may be focused more on like individual objectives where they may be tied to performance or self-development. And then the other 2 are focused more organizationally wide, so like department-based objectives or company-wide objectives. You may see, or you actually do see, a couple other unique versions of what these objective types could look like. And that's just really showing you kind of the flexibility of the tool. If you want to create different objective types, if you want to change the names so they're a little bit more aligned to the terminology that you guys use internally, you're more than welcome to explore that and customize it so it's a little bit more aligned to what your employees are used to seeing. Now, when it comes to the owners, when you're creating an objective, it'll add you by default. But of course, if you're a team leader, You can easily add your team to an objective. There's two ways that you can set it up. So you can set up a way for you to create separate objectives for each individual that's in the part of this group. Or if an objective is being managed by a team, you can have a single objective that's focused for all of the folks that are a part of that team. Now, when it comes to measurement types, you have a couple different options that you can leverage here. The first one that we're seeing here is the classic reach goal or reach objective here, where you have an initial starting point and a target that you're aiming for. In terms of metrics, of course, you have percentages, numbers, and currencies, so you have a little bit of flexibility around how you want to measure that objective. And then you also have other types of measurements. So in your organization, there may be some metrics that you're looking to stay above. And so therefore, you can use the stay above version of the measurement type, where you can set a threshold that you do not want to go below. And then you have obviously, your target that you're aiming for. The inverse is also possible. So you can stay below a certain metric. You can set your threshold and obviously your target that you're aiming for. And then keep track of that via the current value here. And then the last one's pretty straightforward. It's either completed or not completed, right? Now on the right-hand side here, when it comes to timeframes, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, you can set up the different timeframes that you'll be looking to kind of measure these objectives or expect them to be accomplished or completed. And then you can also customize these. So if you have, certain timelines within your organization that are unique to you, you can name them whatever you want. So they're easily identifiable by your team members, and can use them later down the road for any objectives that they're creating. For any objectives that we're creating, we can also have them tie to parent objectives as well. So there may be situations where, you have a top line objective that's, kind of a company-wide focus, but then there may be some objectives that you're working on a department basis that may need to be aligned, so that you can keep track of the progress, and how they're influencing overall company-wide objectives. And so you can choose from this list, assuming that you've made some objectives for the first time. And so we can just tie those and easily connect them. Now, we also have labels that are available. This is really just for the folks that like to slice and dice the data, and be able to kind of group their goals with specific objectives with specific labels. So you're free to customize those and change those as you see fit. And you'll have, of course, some labels that will be available by default. Now, we also have the capability for you to be able to set up like groups as well. So if there's certain objectives that are tied to specific groups within the organization, maybe some cross-functional teams that are working on some objectives, you can have a space for them to work on their objectives together and map those out. And then from a privacy and public visibility perspective, I'd imagine most OKRs would probably be public. We'd probably want visibility across the board. But if you have situations where you have maybe some, maybe goals that people are working on that might need to be a little bit more private until they're accomplished, you can have that capability as well. Now, within the platform, I want to show you all how these these objectives, can be tied together. So here we have an example of an objective that we're working on, which is to build a great place to work. And then we have our key results that we're working on here, right? So improve our eNPS score by 10 points. We have, voluntary team member turnover to be reduced to 8%. Building out a membership coaching program, and then also launching 2 employee experience initiatives based on our employee feedback. The platform is really powerful in the sense that when it comes to these objectives, if you prefer to have the progress of your key results automatically impact the progress of your parent objective, that is a possibility. So let's actually go to a different one really quickly. So if I were to change the progress of our eNPS score here and say, whoops. Oh, yes. Okay. So our current starting point is 70. That's where our eNPS score is. We're at 75, but let's say we hit our target and we're at 80, right? So we update the progress. We're now at 100%. As you can see, we've updated the progress of our parent objective as well. And that's really meant to kind of save you guys some time as you're, updating the progress with these key results. It'll impact the parent objectives, and you can see those impacts fairly easily and quickly. Now, in terms of visibility, team leaders can be able to see their team's objectives across the board as well. They'll also have the capability to be able to see real-time feeds of any updates that have occurred across the team around different objectives or key results that are being updated. We also have a view that's focused around the user view, so you can see your team members and you can see what objectives they're working on, what key results they may be working on, and where they're at in terms of their progress. And then from a, let's call it a cascading perspective, we also have a tree view that we can leverage, which is honestly my favorite view because it makes it really easy to be able to identify where the roadblocks may be across these different objectives that you're working on. And with respect to these key results, you can easily identify the folks that may be falling behind and ones that we need to have conversations with in our one-on-ones to understand where those roadblocks may be. Now, when it comes to getting updates on the progress of these objectives or key results, you can set up reminders within the platform. So you can set the cadence of when you would want those notifications to be sent out, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, every month, your choice. Those notifications will populate here in the Teamflect chat in Microsoft Teams, making it really easy for folks to be able to come in here. And let's see if we have an example at the very top here. So in this case, we're calling it a goal check-in just because we have flexibility in our terminology here. But when it comes to the objectives that we're working on, you can change the values, you can change the status, you can change the comments, all in this interface without actually even having to go to Teamflect if you don't necessarily want to or have the time to go through, extra click and go and update that within your own view. So makes it really easy for folks to get those updates in, and then of course they can just hit save. And then the last thing I'll mention around updates is for managers of teams, if they're looking to have a more real-time update or request a more real-time update, they can easily go into any objective or key result and then just request that, include a note, and then just fire it off, and they'll get an update when that employee is able to update their objective or key result. I would say that's pretty much the streamlined demonstration of the OKRs module. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Happy to answer those in the next 10 to 13 minutes that we have left in our call today.
Perfect. Carlos, thank you so much. Oh, the questions we have. Oh, the questions we have. And it's going to be a joy to go through all of them. And honestly, the interest and engagements all of you have shown in this whole thing, start to finish, has been incredible. And thank you for being such active participants, everyone. Now, we have noted down every single question you've asked because we wanted everyone to see these. Carlos, we have some questions for you regarding how do we connect initiatives within Teamflect to goals, and I'm sure you can walk them through how related tasks and to-do items work with goals. But questions were asked for Hannes first. So let me present all of these questions for.
I've already started to type in some answers because we really have a lot.
Yeah, we have plenty of the good stuff. Now, again, we've noted every single question you have. So, Hans, let's get right to it. Someone wants to know if key results could be a business KPI.
I can't answer with yes or no. I need to explain a little bit. Usually no, because a business KPI is something you are monitoring, whether the machine is running. Yeah. And that's why usually no, it should not be an OKR or a part of a key result. Now, if the machine is not running quite well, for example, imagine you sit in your car, you have your dashboard, right? You see the oil, you see the gas, you see the stuff like that. So these indicators, these are your KPIs. If all is set and green and you're driving towards your mountain you want to climb, everything is fine. Yeah. But if the oil thing is blinking and something is wrong with your oil KPI, you might take this KPI and focus one particular quarter to repair it, to make it smooth again. And once it's smooth again, it remains a KPI again. But you can focus on specific KPIs in specific quarters if you see a problem and you want to fix that problem. Otherwise, KPIs are KPIs and OKRs are OKRs.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. Carlos, there are some product-specific questions in the chat, so if you can just hop on in and answer them personally. Some of them are like very quick questions, and let's keep this gravy train of incredible knowledge rolling on the track. So, Hans, if an objective is not measurable, how do we know if we have reached it? So that's more on the philosophical side.
No, not really. Remember this example we showed. The objective is, for me, has more a communicative aspect. So you want to connect people with it, employees with it. You want to increase the transparency of things which are important or strategy relevant, and an objective should be something which is engaging people, and that's why we don't need numbers in there. But underneath this objective, there are key results, and the key results are measurable, and the key results show whether we are reaching the objective or not. So if an objective has, for example, 3 key results, and the 3 key results are reached by 70 or 80%, the tool is basically calculating a total accomplishment rate of this specific objective in the end. So the key results add up to the accomplishment of an objective.
Yeah. Perfect. So greater than the sum of their parts. So across an organization, different departments have different horizons on the work they do. So what's the best practice for the cadence of new objectives? Is everyone on quarterly cadence, or sometimes it makes sense to do annual only? I felt this was very practical and great question.
Yeah, but such an important question, and I can just please stick to one cadence across the entire company. It's a cadence is such a strong feature in the end. If you stick to the same cadence across the entire company. In German, there's even a specific word for it. It sounds really weird. It's called Gleichtaktsystem. You have a system with the same cadence, and so stick to the same cadence. It doesn't add any value, and it just makes things so much complicated. If team A is doing OKRs based on 4 months, and team B is doing it based on 3 months, so agree on one cadence for the entire company. The only difference might be that maybe from a company perspective, so the top level OKRs are only set annually, and then the team OKRs are basically contributing quarterly to the annual company OKR. So but then you have 2 cadences, yearly ones for the top level OKRs, quarterly for all teams. But it's one rule for everybody.
Perfect. Again, I love a good practical question, honestly. In one of your examples on how to start, you said that management picks one or two topics to work on. But this seems very top down. So is it meant to be like this? Is it meant to be top down?
Great question. Yes, you got me. It's super top down. But hey, that's basically a way how you can start this thing off. And whenever you start with OKRs, the first 1 or 2 quarters are always much more top down than they should be. And then the tricky thing is to bring in this bottom up contribution more and more. But the first cycle, I would say, and I've done loads of OKR implementations, the first quarter, or maybe the first and the second quarter, is still pretty much top down driven. And then you should basically turn the things towards more bottom up contributions by teams. But it's totally okay to start top down in the beginning.
All right, perfect. Let's keep on rolling. Again, we have so much of the good stuff. What are your thoughts on managing up if your current organization doesn't currently, utilize OKRs?
On managing up if your current organization doesn't currently utilize OKRs.
So maybe, managing upwards and encouraging OKRs in your company overall.
Oh, okay. Make sure that you are aligned on what problem you want to solve with OKRs, and then make sure whether OKRs can actually help in managing that problem. So, for example, if it's mainly about driving more collaboration and you want to break up silos in your company, that could be a good purpose to start with OKRs, but because it's definitely driving collaboration.
Okay, so is a formal strategy formulation process related to OKRs in any way? I think this was a bit unclear. So whoever asked this question, maybe we can give you another chance to clarify a bit more in the chat. I was so busy just arranging the question. So let's have this question again in the chat. Maybe clarify it a little, and we'll get Hans on it right away. But the next one isn't. So OKRs can be the same for all members of a team, or is it better to have an OKR for each member? I think this is a very common question.
So first of all, OKRs for me is always team-based. I'm personally not a friend at all to start individual OKRs for individual people. So for me, OKRs is a team thing. Imagine your team has 8 people, then don't write OKRs for each person in your team, because you should write OKRs based on the temporary problems you want to solve, right? And if you want to solve 2 problems in a quarter, you have 2 OKRs with a couple of key results, which might not cover all your 8 people. That's totally okay. Maybe only 50% of your 8 people own key results in one particular quarter. The other ones are either working on BAU or are maybe collaborating. And in the next quarter, you can turn it around and other people are owning key results.
Perfect. What is your OKR formula for helping staff understand how to write OKRs and related key results? I think we will be sending everyone who has participated in the webinar actually the formula. We have prepared the template that Hans showed you during the webinar, and tomorrow you will all receive a small survey about the webinar itself. We would be so happy if you could fill it. It helps us do all of these better. But without anything else, we will also be sending you the actual template, and it's editable. It's really pretty. Our graphic designer did an amazing job on it. So, shout out to our graphic designer, Furkan. You got to keep your graphic designer happy, you guys. But Yeah, so we will be actually sending you the formula itself, so which is pretty solid. So with that,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
a
we can, yeah.
it's a very structured, simple thinking process. It keeps you basically in line from top to bottom. And if you go through, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna come out with qualitatively very, very nice OKRs to start off with. And again, you can't go left or right. You have a structured thinking process in the format of this template. Use it.
All right, let's again keeping it rolling. As someone who tracks departments' OKRs to report to senior leadership, what's the most effective cadence for reviewing OKRs without overwhelming your teams? Now we got the cadence for setting OKRs, setting objectives. Now we have a question. We're getting a question about, hey, what's the best cadence to do OKR reviews? Which I think is a great, very practical
Yeah,
question.
yeah. So I'd say if you have in a team quarterly OKRs, I'd go for every second week, but no extra OKR meeting. Use existing meeting formats within the team and use it then every second week, basically to spend maybe 10 minutes on OKRs just to make sure where are we, and just to find out areas where you might dive deeper, and that could be a separate meeting, a follow-up meeting, or one-on-one, whatever. That's for the quarterly OKRs. For the yearly OKRs on management level, I'd say every month or definitely every quarter, for sure. So either monthly or quarterly if it's about yearly OKRs.
Perfect. Before we move on to the question, Carlos, I'm seeing you're answering questions in the chat left and right, which is amazing.
Yeah.
If you head over to the Q&A section, we also have some really product-specific questions coming on in there as well. One of them
Okay.
is about something that is very near and dear to my heart, Viva Goals. Viva Goals was a Microsoft 365 native solution that sadly shut down and left a lot of people high and dry. If you're coming in from Viva Goals, fear not, Marian, because we have you covered. I promise you, anything you need, uh, we have you covered. Uh, Moving on, are OKRs formulated individually or in a department level or as small team focused? If we're doing team focused, how many should be in such a team and which department must they come from? A bit of a complicated one, but I think we get the gist of it.
Okay. Again, it's a team thing. So the team manager should not write OKRs in isolation and then present this to the team and say, by the way, you're the owner of key result 1, and by the way, you're the owner of key result 2. So include the team because it should be basically created by the team. And the team should basically agree and align on a few OKRs you want to crack on in this particular quarter. So do it all together, give it a try, and also stay pragmatic. You can also title it as a pilot, and you say, okay, let's give it a try and let's learn from the first quarter with our OKRs, and then do a proper retro at the end, because I'm a fan of the retro after the first cycle. That this will deliver a lot of learnings, a lot of actions to fine tune it further along the way.
Perfect. I think two questions. We have a similar version of this that came for Carlos about the actual product, and I can very easily say that with Teamflect you can cascade, as Carlos showed, go objectives at a company, departmental, and stepping away from the OKR territory to like individual development goals, and you can connect each and every one of them together. Another question that came about the actual to-do items that, Hannes mentioned earlier, where we said, okay, these are the objectives, these are the metrics. What about the things we are going to do to actually hit those metrics? Well, within Teamflect, you can actually connect your to-do items and tasks into those goals, into those key results, into those objectives. And what you can actually do is you can make sure those to-do items, as they're being completed, they affect the progress of the key result or the goal itself. So lots of room for intermingling, connecting these very different aspects. So again, great questions coming in. Two questions for Carlos Santana that I've noted. Is it possible to import, existing OKRs from another tool? Because they've been currently using Purdue. So, what are we doing,
Yeah.
Carlos?
Yeah, so we can do essentially a bulk upload. We have a template that we can walk you through with a structure of how we can map those OKRs out, and then we can easily transfer those over into Teamflect so that they're displayed and ready to go.
Yeah, but are we just throwing a template their way and saying, hey, fill this template and upload it to Teamflect?
No, we can do that for them. We can work with them to build it out. Yeah.
Exactly. We have you, any form of migration support, we have you covered. Like, we got your back. So,
Yeah.
because the most important thing is switching OKR tools, switching software. It's a very rocky process, right? And we want all of you to just don't worry about the implementation, the transfer, just get going. Just focus on your people, focus on your work. That's all we want for you guys. And do we upload KPI reports to measure OKRs? How is the progress getting measured? I think, Carlos, this was for you. How is progress measured? And yeah, you can touch upon it a little. If, I think, how are we connecting like reports and data to goal progress, to OKR progress is the question here.
Got it. So the question is, how's
Yeah,
progress measured?
how is progress measured in Teamflect? Well, I think you hit upon that as well, right, with
Yeah.
automated goal check-ins and stuff. But I will also say, you can connect different external data sources to goals within Teamflect, right, Carlos?
Yeah.
It's
So we
about
can set up.
integrations, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can set, if you guys are heavy users of Power BI, we can have those values pulled from Power BI. So if you have like company-wide numbers that you're aiming to hit and you want those values to be reflected in any objectives or key results, those can be transferred over into Teamflect and automatically synced. And then we also have the capability to do that with like an Excel sheet. So if you have some other, data systems that you're using, but don't have like a necessary integration that you want to build out with Teamflect directly, but you have it in an Excel sheet that's consistently updated, we can pull values from those as well and update those goals or objectives.
Yeah, perfect. I think it's mostly about removing all the friction from
Right.
your life so you can just focus, because there's nothing worse than, goals being forgotten about. Because I think there was one question that I really loved, and that was, what if business as usual takes up the full total capacity? Is
Yeah.
there a way we can create capacity for the OKR portion without necessarily onboarding more people? I think, Hans, this was a question for you. So I'll drop that along. I'll pass that along your way if we haven't answered it. Just wanting to be sure. But yeah, everything we want to do here is to make sure business as usual takes as less space, as less capacity as possible here.
Yeah. So yeah. So first of all, I'd say that there are teams out there which are basically understuffed and tons of things on their desks for sure. Nevertheless, I would always say it's definitely worth to have a proper thought about what are we actually doing here day in, day out. So for sure, there is room for improvement in terms of improving the way we are handling our business as usual. And that could be space for a particular OKR around thinking about what are we actually doing here? How are we doing it? Is there a way to automate? Is there a way to outsource? So that could be room for one simple OKR a quarter. We get focus on this topic to solve it, to think about ways to improve how we do it. And that could pay into operational excellence, for example, right? So I think it's important, especially in those teams, to make them aware it's not about creating 3 big objectives with a couple of key results. It's not about it. Pick one thing per quarter you want to drive, you want to change, which is impacting directly the way how you're handling your business as usual. And that could help these teams a lot.
Perfect. And there are still questions coming in, and honestly, this is just gold. I'm loving this. I don't want this to go unnoticed. Amelia Morales asked, in our marketing area, key results are linked with more than one objectives. I would like to confirm if it is a good practice or key results should be linked to just one objective. Very interesting question. Very curious about your thought, Hannes.
To more than one objective. So it could be, I don't know the details, but I can imagine that the marketing OKRs are contributing to more than one objective on a company level. So maybe one is more going towards growth and one is more going towards operational excellence, whatever. And maybe the marketing stuff is connectable to two of those objectives on a more high level area. That could be a case where I can imagine it. If it's more within your peers, so not within marketing, but also contributing to sales objectives, for example, I would need to know more detail, because it sounds a little bit like, if that's the case, it sounds a little bit like shared objectives. So it's an objective which has impact, but it needs to be driven by 2 or 3 distinct departments or teams. And then I would rather make one objectives as a shared objective within several teams. Basically, several teams are forced to work together and collaborate to solve a specific problem. So that more sounds as a shared objective then, if it's on the same level.
Perfect. Amelia, if you're feeling like, hey, there's actually more to this, just let us know in the chat and we'll pass this one along as well. And another question by Amelia is, I think this one was for Carlos. Carlos has a meeting that he had to run to, but I'm free to answer any and every Teamflect related question, which is it possible to configure when I would like to send out a notification to the team that the date to update the OKR is closed? Example, every last Friday of the month. Very good question. And yes, you can configure all sorts of automated notification settings. And you can say like, hey, automated goal check-ins should be conducted, once every 2 weeks, once a month, or any custom automation scenario that you can think of. And you can also say like, hey, this many days before the end of the month, this many days before this, let's say, goal period or due date is coming up. So you can actually configure your automation settings. So very good question. Thank you so much. All right, let's check the chat for one more round.
There's Andrew, the second one from the top, or third one from the top. How do you link OKRs from staff to managers to departments to organization?
Great question. Hannes, do you think this one is for you in terms of practice?
It's probably for both. So I mean, Carlos showed the map view, right, where you see how things are connected. Funny enough, very often this feature is sometimes also called a cascading view, because it cascades things down. From a methodology point of view, I'm not a friend of the term cascading, because cascading means always cascading something down from top to bottom. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I rather like the terminology contributions. So a team is contributing to something more on top, and the department is contributing to something on a company level. So, and that if you look at it from top to bottom, it's cascading. But the way we formulate it and the way we think about how can we as a team contribute towards the mountain we want to climb with our company, that's contributions from bottom to top, and that's a big difference.
Perfect. And if this was more of a Teamflect centered question, yes, you can easily. This depends on we not only bring existing different goal types to objective types within the app, such as company, department, team, individual, but you can actually create your custom types as well very easily, and you can arrange their hierarchy as well. We also have like a different tree or hierarchy view for this as well. So again, any form of your OKR methodology, we got you. Any and every pricing related questions you guys have, you can hit up Carlos at teamflect.com, or you can go to teamflect.com /pricing. And yeah, we'll answer all of your needs. That will answer all of your needs. Wrapping things up slowly, Idara asked the question, can we also get the OKR template? Yes, you can. And we will be sending it to you tomorrow alongside a little survey and how you can contact Hannes after this. But I'm out of words. I don't have, for the first time in my life, as a person who talks for a living, I'm at a loss for words. This has been incredible. The attention, engagement, and everything all these guests have been showing today has been brilliant. And I think that is due to no small parts to the overlord of OKRs, or what was it? What were some of the nicknames I came up? The Oracle of OKRs, the pioneer of purpose, Mr. Hannes Albrecht. Hannes, this has been amazing. And you can reach Hannes at Hannes at HowToOKR.com. Just go to HowToOKR.com and learn more about their consultancy, their practices. He's doing some incredible things. And before we wrap this up, Hannes, you have the floor. Anything else you would like to say?
I just want to I'm also blasted. I mean, super questions. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with us. And I just want to say, if you need someone to just challenge the way you approach the OKR thing up to now, or if you need some support to set things up, you know where to find me. Great. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, we do. Hannes, you're always welcome. If you cannot get enough of Mr. Albrecht, we've recently had him on our podcast, The Team Check-In. You can find it on Spotify or wherever you find fine podcasts. And if you would like to learn more about the highest rated OKR software in the Microsoft Teams ecosystem, Teamflect, you can hit Carlos up at carlos@teamflect.com. You can visit teamflect.com. This entire webinar will be uploaded to YouTube, both in full form or in, different interesting bits and bobs. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We are looking forward to the next webinar. We have plenty of amazing events coming up throughout the year. So, yeah, stick around and follow along. Stay tuned. Thank y'all so much and have a great rest of your day.